Easttak started its business nearly 40 years ago, and ever since the company has been almost solely involved in building construction. This type of work is multifarious and complex. At all Easttak work sites, the personnel is involved in complex projects in an environment that is ever-changing. The work involves the use of heavy objects, heavy equipment, and large machinery. There are innumerable activities that can create hazards in this type of working environment. Easttak has always placed an emphasis on creating an environment that is safe for their employees. Unfortunately, this task has not always been attained, so that during this almost 40-year period, we have had 3 fatalities and several accidents, resulting in great disability as well as in pain and suffering. Our goal is to have no accidents at our work sites. And in order to reach that goal, all employees must join in an effort to watch out for themselves and for their co-workers. The following video presentation was produced in order to achieve these collective objectives. Work starts punctually at 7:30 a.m. at all Easttak workplaces and continues until 6:05 p.m. Easttak provides food for its employees at the place of work. There are usually 3 breaks for lunch and coffee during the day. 1 break before noon, a lunch break, and an afternoon break. These breaks should also be used for any employee's private phone calls. Tools are kept inside locked containers at the worksite. The tools must always be returned to their place following use, so that they may be safely accessed when needed. When you enter the work area, you must show great precaution. It's important that efforts be made to prevent accidents by following safety regulations and using personal protective equipment in a correct way. Employees should always enter the work area wearing the proper safety equipment and follow the Easttak safety regulations. These regulations apply for anyone who enters Easttak work areas. There is a duty to wear a safety helmet during the performance of all construction work outdoors as well as indoors. It doesn't take large, heavy objects to do a lot of harm. Steel footwear protects the sole of the foot and the toes. Use safety footwear during all construction work outdoors as well as indoors. Use clothes with reflective stripes for work outdoors. Bright-colored work clothes and reflective stripes are important safety equipment. Heavy machinery operators must be able to see their co-workers. The wearing of a safety belt when operating heavy machinery is mandatory. Such belts may save us in the same way as they would do in normal traffic. Although large heavy machinery is of a strong construction, the operator is unprotected without the safety belt. Safety belts save lives. There was no safety belt used when that truck overturned. The driver fell out of his seat, broke his neck, and died. Safety belts save lives. Use personal protective equipment when called for. Personal protective equipment includes light protective eyewear, ear protection, and respirators. Such equipment should always be used when there is reason to do so because of the type of work being performed. Light protective eyewear should be used when doing excavation work as well as when doing concrete pouring work. Ear protection must be used when working with air compressors, pneumatic wedges, and machine compactors, and dust masks must be used when necessary. When working with chemicals marked as hazardous, it is frequently necessary to use special types of masks. Get information from your supervisor or from the manual. Private phone calls on a mobile phone are not allowed during working hours. It's a good idea to use a phone as a type of safety equipment, but the safety factor is endangered if the mobile phone is used in an uncritical manner. Lunch breaks should be used for private phone calls. If you need to use the phone because of your job, then you should estimate the time for that purpose. Do not try to talk on the phone and work at the same time. It's extremely dangerous to listen to music through earphones when doing construction work. Then you will not be able to hear treacherous sounds around your surroundings. Be prepared when you hear a warning and run for it. Don't let these things recoil on you or others. Let's follow the safety regulations and avoid accidents. Make sure that the operator of heavy machinery is aware that you or other persons are close by. Tidiness is very important at the place of work. It's not only extremely important to return the tools to their place following use, but the walkways must also be clean so that people will be able to get about, in particular if something unexpected happens. You can never be too careful when using dangerous motors. Power saws have no mercy if they're used thoughtlessly or carelessly. Do not remove the safety shield from the saws, never move your finger close to the saw blade, and always use protective eyewear. When you need to saw large units, you must always ask your co-workers' assistance. The use of power saws has to be learned. Inexperienced people should therefore not use such tools. Accidents caused by the use of handheld tools are very common in the construction industry. Always use good quality gloves, protective eyewear and ear protection when using grinders, as well as when using other hazardous handheld tools. Never remove the shields from the tools. Always try to perform the task by showing carefulness, because it's very easy to get injured. There are many different kinds and sizes of steps. They are simple aids, but unfortunately frequently used in a wrong way, and therefore a common accident trap. Study all steps before you use them. Handle all steps in the correct way for the particular type. Steps should be tied or propped in such a way that they will not slide. Steps with evident faults should not be used and should be removed from the work area without delay. Heavy, gross or dangerous objects should not be carried while climbing steps. Use the proper equipment for hoisting. Scaffolds are used when working high above ground. It's important that the scaffolds are correctly assembled and secured. This is not the right way to do it. When you work on scaffolds, you must prevent objects from falling or dropping on those below. In order to operate motorized lifting equipment, so-called aerial lifts, you will need an operating license. You must at all times use fall arrest systems. You are never allowed to leave the basket when the lift is in operation. The aerial lifts must never be driven with the boom extended, because the basket will then be set into substantial motion by the least difference at ground level. Scissor lifts should also not be moved about when the platform is in an extended position. You must show special care towards people that are in the vicinity and preferably work in a fenced-off area. Always make sure that slings and wire rope are in good condition and that they are not frayed or crushed. Carefully fasten the load when you need to hoist objects with a construction crane. A very hazardous situation may be created during crane work if fastenings are bad and not correctly implemented. It's good for everyone to know the sign language of the crane operators, but do not give sign instructions to crane operators unless you know the signs. Learn about these signs from your supervisor. Always use protective eyewear when doing concrete work. Show the greatest precaution when a silo is hoisted because it may flap. Always stay in the line of sight of the crane operator. Find out where the first aid kits are located in the work area. The first aid kits contain gauze, band-aid and more. Painkillers are kept with the supervisor. Fire extinguishers must be at hand at the workplace. It's very important to react correctly if there is a serious accident. The injured person must be attended to and cared for, and first aid must be administered to him. The emergency line phone number is 112. Call the 112 emergency line for ambulance services, the fire brigade or the police. Attend to the injured person by consulting the 112 emergency line until aid arrives. The supervisor must be immediately informed of any accidents. The employees are responsible for their own safety. The safety of others may never be compromised in the performance of your work. Treacherous handheld tools and equipment must be removed from circulation and the supervisor informed thereof. Employees are encouraged to study the safety manual at their place of work and to provide tip-offs to the safety committee concerning any safety issues that the employees are not able to ameliorate themselves, such as regarding the danger of falling down, treacherous areas or other things that need improving upon. Make a list of dangerous incidents on the required form and submit the list to the supervisor. Good equipment is a defense against accidents. However, it only works when used in the correct manner. Let's make a habit of safe work procedures and arrive home safe and sound.